Good morning, everyone. This is Bruno with 360 Suite. So we've got this last session of the morning. Thanks all for joining. So we've got some SAP experts today that are going to talk to us around how to supercharge your analytics with SAP Hana. So I'll pass it over to David March from SAP.
Thanks, Bruno. Hi, everyone. My name is David Marks. I work as part of the SAP's platform and solution technology team, working with regulated industry customers, which means I work with federal government customers and Department of Defense primarily. Just a little bit of background on me. I've been with SAP for 21 years, and I've been using business objects technology since about 1997, before I even joined business objects. So I'm kind of a long-time business objects guy. But now I'm kind of switched into using SAP Hana, and so I've been using Hana primarily as my database tool for the past 10 years. And I want to go through kind of a technical point of view and how SAP Hana can supercharge your analytics today with business objects and really any other analytic tool you may have as well.
And David, also just for the audience, so make sure if you got questions, please put them in the comment box on the right of your screen. As usual, the presentation will be shared at the end of the event, as well as the recording. So please make sure you ask your questions. David?
All right. Thank you, Bruno. All right, so I want to start just kind of giving a comparison of SAP HANA versus what you might see with traditional databases that run on disk. SAP HANA is an in-memory first database, and oftentimes we see analytics and reporting go as much as 10,000 times faster than it traditionally would in traditional database systems. We've done this many times. I've seen it with many customers. Big financial reports, large data volumes. It doesn't really matter. We get great performance out of SAP HANA, and I'll explain why in a minute. 10,000 times faster is like walking to California in 6 minutes. And just to give you a perspective, when you walk, you're walking about 6 miles an hour. If you were to walk straight to California, that would take like 20 days. So 10,000 times faster, 6 minutes. That's like walking 30,000 miles an hour. So there's a big difference in what you see. So reports could go from hours to seconds, and we've seen this many times. And so it really helps customers in get away from this kind of batch reporting, batch analytics, and get closer to real-time analytics with SAP HANA. So I wanted to, and I'll build this out. You guys probably seen something like this in the past. When you build a classic analytical solution, oftentimes you have to build a multi-layered solution, and this is rather expensive, and you're storing data many times, and you have to transform this data for the business intelligence user who's really asking the business questions. And they get data, they really want data real time, but they're getting data 24 hours old. And so and then the other thing that happens, is that if you want to change up kind of what you want to look at, if you have a change request, sometimes the development takes quite a long time initially, and also to do a change request, because you have, you're taking your real-time, perhaps your ERP data, bring it into an operational data store. You still can't get your performance, and you have to transform it into your warehouse and your specialized data marts, tune it with indexing, aggregate the data, blah blah. You have to do all this work, and then you still have to do batch reporting on top, scheduled reporting sometimes. And so this is very costly, and this is how we learned how to do it, through Kimball and so on, before we had the technologies like SAP HANA. So what do we do different with HANA? We can accelerate our analytics, we can get data, we can be way more agile in how we build analytics, and we can get data in real time. So in HANA, you see on the right, we bring the data or replicate the data into HANA real time or with ELT processes. And we say ELT like extract, load, and then transform. So we'll transform the data inside of HANA, and we'll just bring over the operational data store and build a virtual data mart inside of HANA. So we'll do all the transformations on the fly. And HANA is not just a database; it also has an OLAP engine built into it. So it'll kind of switch into this OLAP mode with the same data, the same operational data, without storing the data again. And so you really aggregates and transformations are really done on the fly. And some customers, will just use HANA both as a transaction database and as a warehouse together, or virtual data mart, not even move the data. So this gives business users real-time access to all their business intelligence data with their analytic tools, whether it be business objects or other BI tools. And I'll talk about those in a second. So what does HANA look like? HANA is a platform. It's a data platform, and it's really more than a database. We store data in memory in a columnar data store in compressed form. We have also multi-tiered storage and data modeling. We have built-in data modeling in HANA, and not to say you won't model data in business objects. You can still do that with business objects universes. But you can also build a HANA model and access those models directly with business objects tools, or you can put universes on top of those models. And HANA, as a database, has all the openness that you need, ODBC, JDBC, and other ways to access the data, admin security, high availability. Those are all built into the product, and we have HANA deployed in the federal government and Department of Defense in really large implementations already. So this is not a brand new product. This is something that is working, and globally we have, I've lost count, at least 30,000 HANA customers. So it's a very mature product that we can, you can deploy HANA on an appliance, you can deploy HANA on a virtual machine, and then it's also available in the cloud, in the Gov Cloud, AWS Gov Cloud, or Azure, or Google Cloud, or NS2 Secure Cloud. So there's lots of ways to get HANA. So that's the kind of database management part, but HANA, being an in-memory platform, also has application development, so you can build applications natively on HANA. It has special analytical processing engines and what's great about this is you don't have to move the data to do things like spatial analysis, graph analysis, text and search, predictive analytics. We have over 80 algorithms in HANA. Machine learning, you can do natively in HANA without moving the data. And HANA has its own data integration, data quality tools native to the product. So we can actually use these products native to HANA rather than your classical ETL tools you may have. So, and that includes, data virtualization, which lets us kind of reach into other data sources, data quality, ETL, and Hadoop integration. So all this is part of the HANA database. So it's really a platform to support analytics, but it also can support applications, right? So how do live analytics work over HANA? So just to kind of give you a perspective, HANA as a database, we can do all the things that we can do with any other database. We can have universes, you can store your tables there, you can just lift your data directly to HANA and do everything you've done in the past, but you can also have live access to that data, which means I can interact with the data because my performance is so fast. I can just, each click can be a query back to the database. And here's where I can leverage the OLAP engine in HANA, as well as universes and web intelligence. So the tool sets are exactly the same. We have a cloud-based analytics tool, SAP Analytics Cloud, which also runs directly on top of HANA to give you live connectivity to HANA, as well as all the business objects tools will run over HANA. And we have special ways of accessing live data with HANA with these tools, including Web Intelligence, Crystal Reports, Lumira, Analysis for Office, and so on. So these tools are going to continue to support HANA, and they delegate some of the work into HANA so we can, you can get much faster query access and let HANA do the work rather than your business intelligence stack. Just a couple words on SAP Analytics Cloud as to how we do live connectivity here, because this is a cloud-based analytics as a service tool. So, this tool works natively in your browser, and it actually can connect directly, behind your firewall to the HANA data source live. And the cloud, the SAP Analytics Cloud tool is outside your network, but that's only going to contain the metadata. So it all interacts live in the browser with HANA, but not just HANA, but also SAP Analytics Cloud can connect live to your current universes and your current web intelligence reports. So this, we'll talk more about this tool probably in other sessions, but this is our new cloud-based analytics. Just talking about how, implementation use cases for HANA that we see on a regular basis. HANA can be an application runtime database for all the SAP business applications. And it's great for those applications because the data models are simplified with HANA because of the performance. We actually have simpler data structures with HANA. EDW for SAP Business Warehouse. So, we see it all the time. A lot of customers are using HANA for their SAP BW systems. I don't really know too many that are not using HANA at this point. Really as a native in-memory SQL data warehouse, and that's kind of what we're talking about here with OLAP and real-time data management ETL. We see it kind of as a data hub oftentimes where we're integrating many different data sources on a single platform, because we can also reach into those data sources. We can connect to those data sources with data federation, and we can also collect that data. Advanced analytics processing, we can have special applications, or we can do special processing of predictive engine, machine learning, spatial. Those are all part of the HANA. And HANA, like I said before, has native built-in development tools for web-based applications that run more efficiently because it simplifies the data access. So this is just, we've all done data warehouses and enterprise data warehouses. We didn't invent the data warehouse. It's the single version of the truth. And sometimes it's sitting alongside a data lake when your analytics are over top. And so now HANA can be your database for your single version of the truth, whether it be data from really any data source, SAP, non-SAP, on-premise or cloud. And so it can really help simplify this kind of data warehouse. A few more details as to what is HANA and what makes it special. It is a standard relational database. It really doesn't look, if you know SQL, databases, you can learn HANA very quickly. I've been using SQL for more than 20 years, so I picked it up rather quickly. It's access to ODBC and JDBC, JSON, OData. It's an ACID compliant, so you can have transactional databases, transaction applications running on HANA, and we have SAP applications, of course. One of the big important things is you can aggregate data on the fly. You don't have to build aggregate tables, and you don't have to build special indexes for fast access. That's all done because HANA is all kind of done on the fly, because HANA is a columnar database. And we take advantage of multi-core parallel processing and single instruction multi-data processing support. So these are kind of the core things. We want to keep a single copy of the data and then have views of information that aggregate the data for us or transform the data for us. And virtual data modeling is kind of a key HANA concept, and it's kind of like doing ETL on the fly, or it's not quite like doing the business objects universe. It's more like data flows, or ETL, where we're putting together joins around joins and aggregations and business rules around a use case, and then presenting that data in our analytics. But the data, again, is the low-level detail information, and we're presenting these views. They're called columnar views versus regular database views to the business user, and they consume it with their analytics, but they get much faster access. And if the data is replicated real time, they get real-time access to that information. So these virtual HANA models, these models are built in HANA. It's called a tool called HANA Studio that's part of HANA, and you can build these models there, and then you can leverage them with any of your business objects tools. And here's kind of an example of what a HANA model looks like. This example, it's kind of an HR model where we have HR data, sessions data, separations information, and we're bringing it all together. And we have our employee base or employee master. We're bringing all this data together. We're doing a union. And then at the top, you see the star join where we're bringing in all of our dimensions. But we're doing all this virtually. So this creates a view that can be consumed by business objects. One good example that's actually live with the Army that we've deployed with HANA, they have a real-time dashboard for what we call common operating picture, which has Army readiness information around their equipment and the maintenance of that equipment. And so they bring in all their data real-time from the ERP into HANA with HANA models, and then they present the information with business objects, web intelligence, and Lumira live to all their commanders, to their two-star generals for kind of a quick view of information. They can mix and match data. They can get critical equipment status, and they can, of course, tailor the information if they need it. But this is a good use case where we're bringing multiple data sources together and then providing a kind of a commander dashboard for a DoD user. But you can do this with any kind of data that you might have. I wanted to show, I'm not going to do the demo, but one of the use cases we see a lot, and we have several customers that have implemented this, is financial data over HANA, general ledger data like reports like status of funds, and this is web intelligence over large volumes of data, 200 million records. But we have many customers that have billions of records over their data, so they might look for funds, looking for unliquidated obligations, and then they might drill to their general ledger, then they might drill to their purchase order. So in one interface, they can quickly kind of drill down into this information, when in the past this would take they'd have to schedule reports, and it might take hours for these reports to run. And this is kind of the same interface with SAP Analytics Cloud. So again, this is the same data, but it's built with the cloud-based analytics tool. So a little bit more about HANA and what's kind of underneath the covers is HANA has a capability called Smart Data Access that also lets you do virtual tables in HANA. So I can reach into other data sources, Oracle, SQL Server, Netezza, Hadoop, Teradata, others. I can make I have virtual access to these other data sources, and then make these virtual tables in HANA, and then make views of this information available to the business objects user. It's kind of like Data Federator in business objects, except it's in the database, so it's going to give you a lot better performance because we're going to be joining the data smartly within the HANA system. Again, HANA has a built-in ETL capability called Smart Data Integration and Smart Data Quality. And so just like, I don't know how many people know data services, but this is kind of like data services, but running natively in HANA. One of the differences, it can actually replicate data in real time through log-based replication through HANA, through the HANA engine and into the HANA tables. We'll giving you another way to kind of bring data into HANA, as well as bringing in cloud data, big data, semi-structured, unstructured data. So this is a great way to kind of integrate your data in the HANA platform, and sometimes you can even retire your old ETL tools. HANA has data tiering, which means most of the data, your critical business data, we want to store in hot and memory tables, but it also has a warm store, which means we're storing columnar data on disk. And this was brought in from technology that we got from Sybase IQ. So we can store data in warm store, and we can mix and match this data. We can partition data, almost like keep our critical business data in hot, and then maybe our age data in warm. And then cold data, we can integrate that with Smart Data Access. With you might have data in Hadoop or other places, and you can still access that data there as well. This is a little bit more specifics on the warm data. We have, it's called native storage extensions, and it can smartly move data in and out of HANA in-memory tables versus HANA disk tables. So, this is kind of the recommended way. And the great thing about this is you can store, let's say you store 1 terabyte of data in the HANA in-memory, you can store, 8 terabytes in warm. So you can greatly expand your HANA footprint without any additional costs except for the hardware to kind of store that additional data volume. And the performance is still very, very good. So a few words about the HANA engines, which are really unique, and with HANA, most database technologies do not include advanced analytical engines native in the database product. So, again, we have unstructured data or structured data, SQL, OLAP, that's part of HANA. We've talked about that. Spatial data, so we can actually support Esri with HANA. If the customers have Esri technology, we can port all their Esri data into HANA, and we can make that the runtime database for Esri. Graph data, text and search. We have text analysis as part of HANA. Predictive engines, machine learning, streaming data, and time series data for IoT devices. So what does some of this look like? So spatial analysis, so you can SAP Analytics Cloud or Esri, or you can build also custom applications, but HANA will support those applications with it's a spatially compliant database. So you can do all your special spatial queries in HANA. You can get a lot more out of spatial queries with HANA than traditional databases. A lot more granular access to the data points. So you can see we support points, polygons, lines, multi polygons. So so it's a GIS, geospatial information system. So this is something to think about, and it goes way beyond what you can do with business objects out of the box. Graph database, this is where you want to look at relationships between that are built in with data. So there's lots of use cases, crime cases, contracts. There might be many ways you want to look at data in a graph format. We did a special project with a government agency to look at research articles and to look at the relationships within those articles. So graph is often used with special applications, not so much with analytics. Yeah, so this is the kind of stuff you might see in graph, right? In enterprise data, this shows a few examples, social networks, and so on. Text mining is a pretty common use case with HANA. We can take unstructured data, text files, PDFs, Word documents, and we can make structure out of that data, and then join that data with your structured data. So, you can bring in your own special dictionaries, whether it be medical or around a piece of equipment or products and so on. and you can look for keywords, or maybe you have a call center. We've seen this used with call center data a lot, looking for sentiment in the call center. So again, there's different types of documents: PDF, zips, XML, Word docs, text, and so on. Predictive and machine learning, this is probably the most used engine we have in HANA. It comes with over 90 prepackaged machine learning and predictive algorithms that support data science like association, clustering, classification, regression, and time series. So you can implement this natively in HANA, but you can also implement this with other tools, Python. You can implement it with Jupyter notebooks and so on. And then we have our extended application services. This is where you may want to build advanced applications, web-based applications over HANA. And again, the benefit here is that these applications are built natively on HANA, and so they can process. They don't have to move the data around, so they get really great performance. You can take advantage of all the different engines that are part of HANA that I've just mentioned to build these applications. So we've done a whole bunch of these for different government agencies to help them in their mission. And security is really important. So HANA takes we take security very seriously. So it has in HANA everything you need to kind of cover all your security requirements between authorization, encryption, auditing, everything that happens. We can anonymize information, we can mask information, and then it has built-in user management as well as single sign-on, and SAML integration, LDAP integration, password policies. So it's all part of HANA to meet whatever security requirements you may have. And again, we've implemented HANA in DoD and the federal government in all kinds of different environments. And just for a strategic direction in HANA, we are going to be taking HANA to the cloud as well for cloud-based HANA services. So those will be coming for the federal and the DoD customers in the future. Today they have a lot of different options for implementing HANA. I kind of mentioned it before. We have the federal like AWS Gov Cloud. We have NS2 Secure Cloud. We have Google Cloud, Azure, as well as if you have your own IT infrastructure, you can implement HANA in a VM. You can have your own appliance. There are many ways to kind of roll out HANA. And that is all I have. So
thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. If you have any questions?
Let's take a question that we have is, do you still use ETL tools like Informatica to transfer and load data if HANA can't aggregate on the fly?
Some customers, you can still use Informatica to load data into HANA. Some customers do that. I would, one customer was kept doing that, but they got rid of the transform part. So they took all the transformations and they just used Informatica to load the data as quickly as possible, but they did the transforms in the HANA models versus running those through the Informatica application engine. So that made so the data was ready a lot faster for that customer.
Is HANA going to replace business object data services in IDT or UNX?
Absolutely not. Data services has its own roadmap, and it supports all the different ETL, all customers who may want to run ETL on their own on premise without HANA. So HANA has an EIM stack built into it to support the HANA customers, but if you have data services, that has its own roadmap, and I even hear 4.3 will be released pretty soon as well.
Thanks a lot, David. Let's pass it over to Motion.
All right.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, David. Can you see my screen?
We can absolutely see your screen.
All righty.
Go
Okay.
to present mode, and we're in business. Go for it.
Okay. Just wanted to hide that a little bit there. Okay. There you go. I think it is perfect. All righty. Okay. So I just want to introduce myself a little bit here. I am, of course, a part of the SAP platform and technology team. I am actually into the business, SAP business for about 24 years, 20 years specifically in the business warehouse, in the business transformation, as well as in the solutioning architect role on the various opportunities I have been in SAP and around the SAP ecosystem. But by and large, I support, just like David, from a platform perspective, our product sales team, our services team. So today in Pacific, I wanted to actually talk about the data migration. We all heard about a lot of feature about HANA, how it's going to replace and what type of database is this. So I wanted to talk about the next step of it, which is how to move the data into HANA. And that is this presentation is all about.
Yeah, it's always a critical part. And also in the meantime, we've got Jason Hurd who joined. Hey, Jason.
Hey, folks, a little technical error and, rebooting of my laptop, but, glad to be here. Wish we were somewhere downtown DC having fun, but maybe the spring session we'll be able to do that based upon some news this week. So thanks for being here. And like you said, Bruno, it's one thing to want to move to HANA, to move into more of a translytical data platform, but then the question becomes, well, how difficult is it? How large of a project is it? And what you're going to hear today from Mosin is that we have a data migration factory. We have an approach. I was working with a Navy customer and complex NetTease environment, and I think 96% was a natural load that we could migrate directly into HANA automatically. So there's only basically 3-4% of the data that we had to do any manual integration. So you're going to hear about that approach today from Mosin. So with no further ado, let's go through the migration approach, and glad we're having another great day as part of the user group.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Okay. So I have also quite a bit of material to cover, and I will try to cover it as much as possible, of course, given the time we have. But I jot down a high-level agenda, basically, around the around the SAP HANA system, what this database is all about. I won't divulge too much time onto it because David already talked a lot about it. From the migration tools perspective, I divided it up in 3 categories. One is, of course, our non-SAP solutions based on non-SAP database, non-SAP applications, and then SAP solution that could be what we could call new implementation. For example, let's set up a new HANA box and move the data to it. And then some of the systems that are already in place from a SAP standpoint at our customer base, how we wanted to move the data from those systems into the new HANA-based application system. So I divided it up into these 3 categories so that we can talk individual tool sets, individual customer base that we have, and what are the underlying details of it. Okay, like I said, David has talked a lot about why our customer are moving their legacy data to the HANA. So I won't spend too much time. The only one thing I wanted to add is about this multi-cloud, which is of course available in our federal government cloud, NS2 environment, as well as on the lower TCO. And why we all heard about, the business value. We heard about the business intelligence out there that is much faster than we used to see because it's the in-memory solution. One of the other thing I also wanted to add, which is the more of a business processes. Today, our customer, let's say, if they are not on a HANA database itself, or we could say, our typical MRP is running, 5 to 6 days. That's very typical today. Our material planning, for example. With the HANA, we have seen in the hours, once we are in a HANA, because of the columnar structure, because of the memory data, and the optimized solutions that we have. And same as is true with the active-active component of HANA 2.0, which is basically bringing our, a kind of a strategy of a OLTP and OLAP together, where in our primary HANA box, we are running our transactional system, OLTP, and in the disaster recovery box of a HANA 2.0, we are running our OLAP. So basically, it's like, together, OLAP and OLTP that are running on the same appliance, and we are utilizing the disaster recovery box much more effectively than we used to. So that's definitely a great business value for majority of our customer. With the multi-tenant, that relates back to the lower TCO directly, because now we can optimize our landscape. We used to have a one server, for example, for a application, another one for another application, and then we could have another for the data itself. We can optimize that with the multi-tenant capability of a HANA 2.0 features. And then we can optimize our landscape, and there's, that effectively is directly affecting our TCO out there. So I just wanted to bring those two elements in addition to what David just mentioned, and why majority of our customers are moving to HANA. Let's talk about what is the data migration factory. You would be hearing a lot about SAP, functional data factory, platform data factory, as well as the migration data factory, right? This one is specifically created for our customer who are in non-SAP environment or in SAP environment to move their data into the HANA database, or if we are looking at a different application, S4 or BW, for example, how to move that. This team is with our SIs, solution integrator, will work together to put together what we call a business case for our customer. It would help our customer put together the scoping, how many source systems we have, what type of data that we wanted to move. It would actually also put together what we call target architecture. At the end, what the target architecture on S4 or on a HANA going to look like. It will facilitate that discussion as well. This database migration factory would also help automate some of the processes of the data load. So, for example, majority of our processes, if we are looking from Oracle to DB2 to Teradata, are about 90% automated, and there are few things still out there that we would require a little bit of a manual work, but by and large, they are more mostly automated processes. And then we also help our customer with running a small POCs to give them a kind of understanding how the process works, what are the migration capabilities look like, and such. And then we work again very closely with our solution integrators to give our customer a fixed priced proposal to run the data migration factory. Let's talk about the first aspect or the use case of the data migration factory tools. This one is specifically non-SAP based solution, which means that we are looking, Microsoft, Oracle, DB2, or Teradata type of the world, where we are not only using the database or the warehouse, but also have some application built on top of it, right? So this is that specifically use case. And if you see, we have a mechanism in this factory, migration factory, to move custom application, including the enterprise data warehouse, plus any other independent software vendor application that are out there. We will move them as part of the data migration factory, because I will show you there are tool sets available to take care of each type of vendors out there. Again, to our customer, there is no cost to it. Most of the time, they can pick up a phone and they can ask about this database migration factory. We can help them out. We can run, again, a small POC. We can give them the assessment, what type of database components that they have, the object that they have, and what it's going to cost and everything. And at the end, we can also give them a kind of a sense how much is going to be required as far as the HANA itself is concerned. There are SAP and non-SAP tool sets that are available, again, for the non-SAP application, non-SAP database. You could see SAP has an advanced SQL migration tool. It used to call, I think they changed the name back in 2017, but they used to call it Exodus. That's a SAP built tool set. You could also see that there is a Tata Consulting Services Migrator tool set is also available that majority of our partner will use. Rolta Smart Migrate, that's another tool set that is out there. And Cognizant has HANA Plus, which specifically looks for SAP solution to migrate their data to HANA, but by and large, they are using it as well. Infosys has their own, it's the custom code and migration optimizer tool that basically brings all of the data from SAP solutions to HANA. These are our solutions that are out there. And again, there is a team which is built nearshore and offshore resource model and expert from our SI ecosystem and worldwide. Let's talk specifically about advanced SQL migration tool we typically known as the Exodus. Again, this is the DBMS SQL migration tool. The good thing about this tool is that it will migrate pretty much everything that Microsoft SQL based on, SQL system based on MS SQL, Oracle, or DB2, or even Teradata has. We will move basically all of the SQL stored procedure, the triggers, the SQL queries, and everything along with the scripts that we have into the HANA with this tool set. That is very powerful tool. Our whole objective is to really make a transition to HANA faster, simpler, and of course, as much as automated as possible, and thus yielding a faster migration for our customer, with the less risk, because everything is almost automated there. This tool set is widely used for a lot of our customer, and we will show you that. There is another tool, I think David alluded a little bit earlier, which is data services, part of our business object suite we have. This tool set is by far is the oldest tool SAP has that has a lot of feature about the ETL, data quality, profiling, and text analytics as well. And you could see there are a number of sources on the left-hand side that this tool can tap into to bring the data into SAP HANA on your right side. And again, you could see that it is structured, unstructured data. It would help cleanse the data with the data quality. It also has the profiling to understand what type of data is coming and can address a lot of things while it's transferring the data. You could also see that it has wide range of SAP and non-SAP target solution, that it can tap into it. And the good thing all about on this tool is that it can load the data in real time as well, or we could call it close to real time with the 1-minute schedulers, right? So we can use this tool, and I'm sure a lot of our customers are using it. This tool can connect more than 50 systems, meaning the connectivity range is huge. Again, this is a very old tool. You could see from any cloud solutions to any database to any applications, even a file-based or a mainframe-based systems can be used, the data migration, the business object, tool set, part of the data migration factory. And you could see a lot of our customers are using, this is really a handful, but I can tell thousands and thousands of our customers are using this tool. I just picked up few of them so that we can relay that a lot of the customers today, even in our federal government regulated industry, are using it. Let's talk briefly on the data migration tool, which is for the SAP-based solution. We will be talking Greenfield, which is a new system. Let's say we have a existing ERP solution or BW solution or any NetWeaver-based SAP solution, and we wanted to migrate our data, or we are setting up a new solution, let's say S4 HANA or BW for HANA, how we wanted to move the data to it. SAP providing built-in solution to it, and there is a migration cockpit that is built in S4 HANA itself to help migrate the data for our customer. And that data could be a sliced data, maybe a chunk of data. It could be a pretty much everything in the existing system, or we can cherry pick maybe some configuration and some data with this tool set. This tool set is included as part of our license, and a lot of customers are enjoying it. They are using it. There is no additional cost to it. It has been well defined, and it has basically its own content that customer can use. And a lot of our customers are using this tool. And this is, if we are doing a SAP new implementation as for S4 HANA, this is our go-to tool set that we are recommending. It has two ways to load the data. One is basically through either a file-based, which is the XML-based file, or we can have a source system dump the file out to a staging area, and we can pick it up from there and move into a S4 HANA, either the cloud or on-premise solution. It's possible in that. But one of the best things that actually came back in 1909 S4 HANA release is what we call direct transfer, transfer directly from the SAP solutions or source system to the SAP HANA solution. That is just like, our BW today is connected with the ECC and we are loading data every day. It's similar to that, where this basically can be connected with any of SAP-based source system through RFC, and it can load the data directly into the S4 HANA system. Very powerful tool, pretty much automated. It knows what are the objects that it needs to transfer and convert on the fly. So it's a pretty much very powerful tool that we have. Again, this tool can also be used for the slicing of the data if you wanted to carve out for a yearly data, or maybe if we have a multiple company code, you can slice and dice that way using this tool. Let's talk about briefly on other tool set that are available for our customer who already have the SAP-based solution and wanted to basically convert the whole system that they have into the new S4 or BW for HANA type of solutions, right? Meaning lifting and shifting all of the configuration and all of the data together with that tool set. So SAP has built a special tool set for it, and we will take a look at it. This tool set is actually part of a SUM. This is Software Update Manager, which has been there for many years. But SAP built another option into it. It's called Database Migration Option. What it does basically, it moves the entire stack of the data sitting on our current ERP or BW solution or any other NetWeaver solution that we have, and then it will move that into the HANA. But it is different in a little bit way here, because it is the combination of not only the upgrade as well as the migrate processes of any database migration, heterogeneous, right? It basically combined both of those features together. In our classical way, we used to do the updates And then once we are done, let's say take another year, and then we will start with the migration to the heterogeneous system. In this case, could be HANA. It would take, year plus, but not with this DMO. DMO is going to cut short a lot of the processing time because it's doing a lot of things together. It's doing the migration, it's doing the upgrade, it's doing the Unicode conversion, really all those three things together on the fly, and that's basically providing the capability of using HANA or ASC system as fast as possible. Let me just show you what it means when we are running the DMO under the hood. So we will basically start this DMO process in the source system. And I wanted to mention one thing before this is all in place, which means that everything that this DMO will be doing in the existing system. And then I wanted to show you where we're gonna basically save a lot of time and the downtime as well for the business continuity. So it's gonna start in the same production box, calculating and preparing about the what type of data, what type of configuration it needs to load and it needs to migrate. It will create a shadow instance in the existing system. And this is all happening in the uptime. That is the feature, the best feature of this tool is that everything is happening in the uptime. So, our users, business user can run their transactions. They can run their transaction while this DMO process is running. It's only when we basically switch our database system from the traditional Oracle DB2 based system to HANA based system, then and only then we will say it's now a downtime. Business continuity will have to stop for a certain amount of time. And then we will start what we call migrating our application data, finalizing some of the post processes, and then right away, start using the new HANA system, either the S4 or the suite on HANA or the BW on HANA, whatever the system or the application we're going to be using, we can use that. But what the point I wanted to make it, basically all of that uptime processing is actually helping our customer big time into a smaller downtime, which is very important for a lot of our federal customer because they need to have a business continuity. We have seen a 1 week of a downtime basically coming down to 36 to 74 hours, and that is because of this tool set. It is a tool set that is a self-learning tool. We can optimize a lot of things as we go. So it has been used pretty much in all of the migration to date we have. I think this was maybe my last slide. I just wanted to mention the whole reason about this data migration factory is to help our customer either on non-SAP application or database solution or on a SAP business solution to support dedicated migration processes by providing licensed and highly skilled resources to do that migration, because they are certified in a specific source system, and that's what this migration factory will be bringing along when we are at the customer space. Again, simplifying the adoption, that's also very important, because whenever we go to the customer and there is of course a huge data set, they always question how long it's going to be for us to move our data. This factory actually helps our customer to streamline that process end to end. And of course, in this, while we are using this factory, we are bringing our best of the best ecosystem resources as well, and they are helping SAP moving the transition to SAP HANA. I think that's all I have, so I guess I can open up for any questions here.
Yeah, so please feel free to ask your question in the chat box. I know there were a few at first, and we can take another minute or two and go through some of the questions. It was actually interesting on the project you've shown. We've actually got quite a few customers that went to HANA that were on and that had some pretty successful migrations and definitely some performance increases.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason, do you want to say anything about the presentations of today? Something you want to add?
No, I think you know the overall message to our government community, I think, is straightforward. You know what we would like you to do is, you have a mandate to move to the cloud. Well, if you're going to do a project, instead of lift and shift to AWS or Azure, I think it's that provides an opportunity for innovation and make your move to the cloud about innovation. Move that legacy ODBS database to something like HANA that provides the built-in analytical capabilities. Start looking at your projects around Analytics Cloud. And if you haven't dove into that and you haven't looked at the smart features and you haven't looked at its universe connectivity, it's FedRAMP moderate certified, you need to start doing that. So I would say, come to 360, come to SAP and say, let's take the opportunity of our movement to the cloud to innovate our analytics environment. And that'll be a combination of HANA and SAC working within your existing business objects landscape. I've got a current customer we're working with that basically did an SAC evaluation to Power BI, and basically they're kicking out Power BI and moving SAC. So if you haven't started to dive into that product, it's going to be well worth your while to do so. And if you connect SAC to your business objects universes and put your data in HANA, you're going to have the best data platform of any agency or any command within the government. So, we've got workshops. We're ready to go. Reach out to us. And we're here to help put together that innovation roadmap for you.